booktubing world. It is I, Capri Nicole, and I am back with another video. So today, I'm just trying to like hold in my aggravation because I am bitter. So I just finished the book Empire Storms. It doesn't have the cover on it, I took it off. So I just finished up Empire Storms and my soul is just like broken. It's so many things that happen in the end of this book where I'm just like, okay, where's the rest of it? Like, thankfully, I already have the final book. I have Kingdom of Ash, and I've already read Empire Storms before, but this is my second time reading it because I did a reread for the preparation of Kingdom of Ash, and I never thought I could be that bitter, but I'm still a little hurt about this book. Like, I thought it would be less of a betrayal at the end because I had already read it before. I was like, oh, I already know what's going to happen. It's not going to be that bad. But me reading everything back to back made my emotions be even more tied into this final book, and I'm just like, I was just even more mad. But let's get into this book talk. My overall thoughts of this book is made. That's number one. Number two, bring Aline back. Like, hashtag bring back Aline. Like, where's Aylin? Where is she? Just my emotions. And another thing, I hate Lorcan. Like, Lorcan, I was literally rooting for the whole time because he was such a hard ass, but Aline was breaking through and she was just trying to get to him and it was working and they started falling in love. I was like, okay, I'm here for this. But the ending though, he can literally go die. Doran and Manon are giving me life. They're everything to me. And final thought, Rowan, please find Maeve and kill her slowly. So I took a ton of notes while I was reading this, and I want to talk about other notes that I took. Hopefully this video isn't too long. This is my first time doing like a little series of book talks, so I'm just going to talk about everything that I put in my notes and just give a little discussion of it. Most of it is in order because I was writing it while I was reading. So yeah, let's get into this. So in the beginning, it's revealed that Queen Elena and King Gavin are actually the ones that trapped Erwin in a tome to banish him at the bottom of the Black Mountains or something like that. And they locked him in there and they did not kill him. So all these stories and all these magical songs about how they slayed Erwin and they banished him away, no. Homeboy was locked up in that tomb and he was waiting for his opportunity to free himself. Like, there was no guarantee that he was going to stay locked up in there. She didn't even know how the locks worked. It was just so many things. I was just like, okay, Elena, you just messed everything up. Because it just reveals over and over again how she messed everything up. How the lock was supposed to lock the keys and not Erwin, because he was supposed to be banished and go back into a different world along with the gods, and she stopped that from happening because she used the lock on his tome, and then she ended up having to sacrifice someone in the future to bring forth the lock as well, because they have to have the same type of power to be able to make the lock and use the keys and all that stuff. Another thing that kept popping up was the little folk. Like, nobody ever talks about the little folk. Like, they are so cute. The little folk that were in the forest that used to leave little trinkets and stuff like that for Aline or Aylin when she was like traveling from Endovier. She saw them, and even in the forest as Selena, she saw them. Like, it was so cute. There were so many times that they popped up, they left her little notes, they left her little hints, and I'm just like, I'm so here for the little folk. Like, they were so precious to me. So when Erwin was brought back and he no longer was Parrington, where did Parrington go? Like, did he die? Like, he literally just took like a whole different form. Like, they never really revealed, like, did he kill him? Or maybe I can't remember, but I was just like, okay, so Erwin is like a whole different person now, and he has the same eyes as Manon. So I'm just like, okay, Manon's family, or Manon must be closer to the Fae or the Vogue Kings, because they kept saying that, oh, she has the eyes of the Vogue King. She has the eyes of the Vogue King. And I'm like, does that mean she has like extra dark powers? Like, are we gonna like tap into that, or are we gonna like skid around that? Like, how powerful is she based off of her eyes? Like, her eyes are more astounded than like the other witches. So I'm like, okay, does she have like dark powers because she has like, the eyes of the Vogue Kings? Like, is she more powerful in darkness? I just want to know, like, how deep does this go? So in the beginning, I was just like so hopeful because at the end of Queen of Shadows, everything just like all lined up. Everything was so peaceful. Everything was so beautiful. And I was just like so hopeful for like the get together of this story, because like everything ended so on such a good note, and then I was just like, oh, everything's gonna be so great, everything's gonna be so wonderful in the next book, and it was not. Like, as from the jump, like from the beginning of Empire Storms, it was just like, okay, everything just went from the top of the hill, it just started crashing and burning. Like, as soon as she went to go have the meeting with Darrow, Ren, and I can't, Martigo is Martug, I don't know how to say his name, but when she had the meeting with Darrow, he was not recognizing her as the queen at all, and he went completely behind her back and had all the lords within the north sign off agreeing with him that she should not be recognized as queen, that her powers are harmful, that she is like this child that doesn't know how to take care of her powers without killing people or hurting people to a full extent, and he just was not recognizing her powers at all. She doesn't have the right alliances, she doesn't have the right army. I was like, damn, like I was so hopeful at the end of Queen of Shadows, and then I go into Empire of Storms and everything's just crashing and burning. Like, all the plans are just falling apart in the beginning, and then nobody's recognizing her, and then you have Dorian's whole castle and land completely get sacked, just demolished the glass wall that was protecting the citizens, and like it was like a symbol of peace and like a symbol of hope and a symbol of all these things, and that thing wasn't even up for 20 seconds. They literally demolished that thing within seconds. I was like, damn, they just put the freaking glass wall together, and the first thing that happens in the beginning of the book is the witches overthrowing Dorian's whole land, everything, overthrowing Ritful, and then trying to kill him and just tearing apart the entire wall. I was like, okay, so we just gonna go that route. Like, my heart was just breaking in the beginning. I was just like, okay, so I was mad. And even though Darrow was a turd, he was bringing up some really like important facts, like the things that he was saying about Eileen. Even though I was getting pissed because obviously she's one of my favorite characters, but I still was getting mad because I was just like, damn, but he's right though. Like, she had so many big showboaty moments where she likes to like be super dramatic and like all the flames and like burning everything, people get hurt, people dying, and she doesn't really have an armada. Like, she does not have soldiers behind her, she doesn't have anybody that is like soldiers for her, she doesn't have ships, she doesn't have anything. Like, what are you bringing to Treason? Like, he's looking at her like, okay, this girl literally abandoned her people for 10 years, didn't recognize her heritage or anything, and then she shows back up with this power and she just burns shit down. That's how he sees it. When you're within her court, then you can like look around and be like, okay, well, we see all the things that she's done, we see all the small things that she cares about, we see all her emotions, we see everything that she does, and we get it. But Darrow's like from the outside, and he's bitter because she was in love with her uncle, so he has more of, not more of a tie, but he's more sentimental to the values of Treason. And even though she loves her land and everything like that, he's just bitter because he's just like, okay, so you literally just showing up with fire, burning a whole bunch of shit. You expect me to be like, yeah, all hail the queen? Like, no, I'm not standing for it. And I'm just like, but I felt bad for Aelin because I was just like, damn, she was so hopeful, and then she went in there like being cocky and had so much to say, and he was just shutting her down from like 1 second to the, he started tearing apart her court, he started talking about Lysandra, and I was just like, okay, like, back off first of all, because they had a heart-to-heart moment and it was really beautiful and you're ruining it right now. But the things that he was bringing up was like, he was right. And even when she left, she was saying like, oh, I completely understand how he feels. Like, if it was me and I was in his position, I would say the same thing. So it's like, he's an asshole, but you actually get to see that everybody isn't for Aelin. Like, everybody isn't like, oh, all hail the queen. And some people are skeptical, some people are nervous because of the action that she's taken, and the fact that she's so young, and the fact that she's with Rowan. Like, it's a lot of things that tie into it. Also, when Manon rescued Dorian, like, I was just like, girl, come on over, like, come over to the good side. It's too late for you, sweetie. Like, she keeps saying like through all the series, she kept saying like, oh, like, witches don't have hearts, like, oh, I'm not supposed to feel like this, blah blah whatever. But she rescued Dorian ASAP. Like, she was not having the sacking of his land and killing him. Like, she was not having that. As soon as she showed up and she rescued him and got him free, all of that whole scene, everything was just like, it was just sad. Like, it was sad seeing all those innocent people being killed, the wall being torn down, Dorian not being able to do anything. Like, he would have been able to help, but he would have ended up dying, and he's more useful being alive, which is why when Rowan showed up and they ended up running away together through like the queen's hidden room, I was just like, I felt bad for Dorian because he just wanted so bad for everything to work out and to stand for his people, and for him to have to run, it just was like a slap in the face. But I was like, Manon, girl, come on over. Like, come on over to the good side. You're already welcome. Everybody already accepts you. Like, just come on. But she was still had some things to tie up with the witches, so we just gonna stay over there. Also, I want to know who Lorcan's parents are, because they kept saying, oh, he has this dark power. Oh, he has this dark power. But they never talked about, like, who his parents are or what his background is. Like, he doesn't really remember what his background is. He just talks about being in the slums or something like that. But he never really talks about who his parents are, where his powers dwell from. But he always says it's a darkness, like it's a dark power, and that he has Hellas as his like guide. That's the god that guides him. And I'm just like, okay, so we need to get a little bit deeper into what his powers are, because I want to know. Also, I'm kind of low-key here for Alid, because she like does this, she has this way of lying and twisting things into her benefit. So it was really interesting to see what she could do, but I need them to talk more about what her powers are, what her background is. Everybody keeps saying she's a witch, but I'm just like, okay, sis, like, you know how to you know, scheme and get your way out of certain situations, but what are you useful for? Like, I'm rooting for you, but I really just want to know why you're relevant. Like, can we just figure out why they need you so bad, or why you're so important? Like, I just want to know. I just want to know. And then when everything happened with Dorian and Manon helping out Dorian, and then her grandmother ruling that because Manon killed oh, what was her name? Iskra? Yeah, because Manon killed Iskra second, they get to kill Astrid. I was just like, first of all, excuse me, like, you are not about to kill one of my favorite witches. Like, I was so uptight. I was like, first of all, her grandmother is just terrible. Like, her grandmother is trash. I was just like, first of all, she just like to do things. I just feel like she does things to like push Manon on the edge and wants to make her more and more and more and more vicious. Like, she does things that are traumatizing to Manon just so that it'll make her more of a vicious person. And I'm just like, why? Why can't you just leave her alone? Like, she's doing everything for the good, the greater good, and her grandmother's just so damn evil. She just wants to see Manon be pushed over the edge. She wants to see her just be terrible like her. I'm just like, no. Oh, that whole scene, the whole scene with her sentencing Astrid to death, I was just like, why? And then the book had the nerve to make this huge gap between that chapter and the next one. I was just like, okay, so like after that happened, there was only like 2 more chapters with Manon, and I was just like, why do I have to wait? Like, I wanted to know what was gonna happen, even though I already knew because I've read it before. But I was just like, I really wanted to just flip through the pages and read Manon's next. I really enjoyed Rolf being brought back into the book and his ties to the Messinins. I think it's Messinins and the Sea Dragons, and all, like, the fact that he's like the heir of those people, and all the history and the background with the Sea Dragons and stuff like that, and her pretty much scheming Rolf into believing that he needs to be a part of her army. Like, because I think Rowan and Dorian were the first ones to meet up with Rolf, and they were supposed to convince him, but he was just like not having it. So Aelin ended up showing up as Selena, of course, and then she brought in Lysandra, and Lysandra was pretending to be her, and I was just like, sis, like, she's so damn dramatic. But that whole scene had me dying. Like, when she showed up there, was being super arrogant, and Rolf was just like, why are you here? Like, I told you the last time that if you come here again, I'm going to kill you. And then she ended up making him reveal that he's actually like the heir of the Messinins, and that she needs his help and she needs his army. Like, this was the first favor that she called in, was having his army help her to protect him from the Vogue. And then they ended up fighting all the Elkins? Yeah, something like that. So they ended up having this whole war with the Elkins, and Rolf helped, and it was just, the showdown was just crazy. And then Lysandra was the sea dragon, and she was like underwater fighting with the sea wyverns, and it was just, that whole scene was just like crazy. It was so much action, like everything she had to do just to make Rolf be on her side, and he still kind of was like towing the line. Everybody was here for Aelin, and he wasn't just like, I'm 100% for you. Like, she still didn't really know if he was like a part of her team, but she left it at that after that whole fight. And then she pissed me off when she used the key to try to tap into deeper powers. I was just like, sis, first of all, just use you and Rowan's power and just be done with it. Like, they had enough people to help them, they had enough ships, they were kind of overwhelmed with that, but she wanted to prove a point. She wanted there to be an audience. And then Deanna, one of the gods, shows up and tries to kill the people on Rolf's land. I'm just like, see, this is why. This is why you don't do things like that. When she like used the key to try to tap into a deeper power and ended up being the door for another god, and the god was just like, oh, she was promising me, or blah blah blah, whatever. I was just like, she used moonfire and she literally almost killed a ton of innocent people. I'm like, see, Aelin, this is why you cannot be extra like that. There's certain things and certain times where you don't do that. Don't do it. Like, it's a time and place, girl. Like, you could have just used your power, slayed them, and moved the hell on. But just... So I was originally, like, when I read Air of Fire, I was having issues with shipping Aelin and Rowan together. I was just like, okay, so I just felt like their love didn't have enough depth, and I shipped Aelin more with Kale. Like, rereading this around the second time, I was so surprised that I shipped Aelin with Kale more than I did with Rowan. I was just like, he was mean as and I was just having a tough time with their love interest. I was just like, okay, I was here for them being together, but I wasn't like hardcore rooting for them like I was the first time that I read this. Heart-to-heart moments, heart-to-heart conversations, it made me like them a little bit more, but I still wish that their relationship had more depth, because I just felt like it was kind of Twilight-ish, like, oh, he's so beautiful and so magnificent, and she's so beautiful and so magnificent, and they're just so great together, they're so powerful. I'm just like, okay, but they didn't have that much depth. It was just like they're both broken and they know they were supposed to be together, but it wasn't that much story behind it, so that was my only issue with that. But in this book, I got to warm up a little bit more to them, a little bit more. I also felt bad for Dorian, because after everything went down and everybody was all together, I felt like he just didn't have a place. Like, he couldn't get Rolf to, he had to call in a favor and have Aelin show up just to convince Rolf to become a part of their army. And he just really didn't have a place. He kind of just was there. He ran away from his people got sacked, everything was just like going pretty terrible for him. And then Erwin appointing Holland, who was his brother, as the heir. I was just like, first of all, what we're not going to do is pretend that Dorian is dead. Like, he is not even dead, and he like pretty much banished him, didn't recognize him as king, and he's like, anybody who recognizes him as a king is committing treason and all this stuff, and they said that Holland was the heir. And I'm like, first of all, he's the youngest and he is not the heir. Like, he's not the king, so slow down there, okay? Slow the hell down. I just wanted to hug Dorian. I was just like, he was so out of place. Like, he didn't have anything to stand for. He just felt so useless. So, like, him working with Rowan to build up his power and become more helpful and more useful, that was really special for me, because I just, like, felt bad for Dorian the whole time. Can we just talk about the scene where Manon and her grandmother fought? So much was revealed. I was like, first of all, I was hoping that Manon killed her, but sadly she did not. And just everything about that scene, the scene where Astra was brought to her and she was like, oh, bring me back to the cabin. I literally lost it. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna cry now. And just like, it was so many scenes that I was just like, and this book I cried like 4 times. Like, when they brought Astra into Manon and she asked to be the one to kill her, my heart just broke. It was so bad. It was just so bad. And then when she rebelled and she broke them free and she told her 13 to run, and her grandmother ran up and they started fighting, and then her grandmother revealed that she literally has been killing her own people. Like, the Croaken witches is her line, is her bloodline. Her mother and her father wanted to make peace between the Croaken witches and the Iron Teeth witches, and her father literally is a Croaken and he's the prince on top of that, so that makes her the heir. And I was just like, wait, so... And then her grandmother said that she literally, the last Croaken that she killed was her half-sister. I was just like, this like, I really wanted to fight her grandmother. I was like, let me jump in, sis. Like, just let me jump in, because I was just like so over it. I was like, wait, so she has been making Manon kill her own people all this time just to build hate and anger and be vicious. And I just kept thinking about what the Croaken witch, which ended up being her sister, was saying to her. Like, they made you into this. They made you into being a monster. Like, they raised you like this. You don't feel like this. You just feel like that's how you're supposed to be. So just that whole scene was just like crazy. And then when Manon flipped off of that ledge and Abraxos was there, my heart, it was just like everything. And then she was bleeding, and I was just, that whole scene, I think that was probably one of my favorite scenes in the book, was that fight. and her rebelling, and just like that little shift just shows you that everything's gonna work out, because now we have the witches on board for a better change, because Manon now knows the truth about her heritage. Also, I enjoyed Alid and Lorcan's little love story, and he was so damn mean, but he was trying to be nice, but he was like kind of precious, but I was just like, I like them together, but some of their chapters I was just like, okay, can we just like skip through all of this? Like, I like them, but I was just like, I have other things to get to, like Manon, like can we have more Manon? But I did enjoy Alid and Lorcan's chapters, because he was just like so like tough, and she was just like sweet but also not taking his shit, so I did like them together. And she literally fought the Ilkin on her period with a broken ankle. Like, nobody recognizes sis for her strength. Like, she had strength. I really liked all of the scenes that involved them all fighting together, because you got to see how they knew to look out for each other. Like, Dorian knew when to look out for Lysandra when he froze the wyvern that was trying to kill her, and then Adian ended up using the catapult to just like demolish the wyvern. Like, I just like seeing how they function all together as a group. It just was so nice, because I'm just like, having all of your favorites together and then they're fighting this war and just like kicking ass, I was just like 100% here for it. And the part where Lysandra almost dies and she's on the beach and Adian tells her that he wants to marry her, I was just like, I'm shipping it. Like, I don't care, I'm shipping it, I'm shipping it, I'm shipping it. I love them together. He was like, I don't care, I have to wait 10 years. I'll wait forever for you because you mean that much to me. And I was like, I literally love them, and I love how patient he is with her and how understanding he is with her. But I was just like, if she dies right here, I'm gonna be mad. And I felt like reading this book, I felt like it was reading it for the first time, because it was just like crazy. So many things I didn't remember, and so many things I was like on the edge of my seat. But I was like, she better not die, even though I knew she wasn't gonna die right there, but I still was just like on the edge. I like the fact that everything was revealed about Elena. Like, Queen Elena literally messed everything up. Like, I know she was trying to help her people back in the day, but sis, that lock was supposed to be for the keys. Lock and key, they go together. They were not for Erwin, and she literally messed everything up by putting him in a tomb and locking him up, because, like, first of all, he is not gonna stay in there. Second of all, that power was drained for no reason. Like, and that's why the gods were so mad when they were just like, he was supposed to be banished. The keys were supposed to be banished with the lock, with Erwin, and all the gods that were still trapped there were supposed to go to their reflected realms. But because she used the lock on something else, they were pissed. And they were just like, first of all, what you're not going to do is stop us from going to where we need to go. She ended up having to promise later on in life, have someone sacrifice their power to forge the lock. So they're out here looking for this damn lock, and the lock is Aelin. Like, she literally has to use all of her powers, drain all of her powers, just to make the lock. And when she figured that out, she was like throwing up, and she just like felt so bad, and just that's when she started making her plans. She made all these plans without anybody knowing it, because, you know, she don't like sharing her secrets. She likes to surprise everybody. So she knew from the beginning that she would have to use all of her power to make that lock. When she figured out there was no lock to find, she had to make it. And that just, I'm like, Elena, why did you mess everything up? There were just so many little things I have in these notes. Like, I loved seeing Gabriel and Adian fight back to back. But I'm like, okay, first of all, Adian needs to let that hurt go. I know that he's mad that his dad wasn't around. His dad's the reason his mother died, blah, blah. But Gabriel literally apologized, and Adian is still bitter. I'm like, if you don't let that hurt go, bro, let it go. Like, you're literally surrounding yourself by war, and you could die at any moment, and you still want to be mad at your dad. He's trying so hard to talk to you. Just talk to him, for the love of God. This description of the Bloodhound, and the Bloodhound trying to kill Manon, and then when Manon showed up with Abraxos to the ship with Aelin and everybody else, I was just like, yes, all my faves are together. Like, there are so many chapters where they're separated, so when all of them come together, I was just like so happy. It felt like one of those episodes where like your favorite TV shows do like a mashup. That's how I felt every time all of them were together. I'm just like, yes, like bring all of the characters together, let them fight together. I loved it. I was getting sick of Adian being so damn uptight. I was like, first of all, can you just relax? Like, I liked Adian when he was introduced in the other book. He was so much like Selena that I was just like, I love this guy. Like, he had all these conversations with Dorian and Kale that was just like snappy, and they were so funny, and I just loved his character. But him as a general, he wants to be in charge. Like, he wants to be in charge of everything. And the way that Aelin works, she doesn't like telling anybody what she's doing. She likes being in charge in secret. So she lets people say whatever they want about her, do whatever they want. But at the end of the day, she's usually like 10 steps ahead. And then everything gets revealed in the end. And he doesn't like that. He doesn't like surprises. He doesn't like not knowing what's going on. He doesn't like having a say in what's happening and what decisions are made. He does not like surprises. So that made him like a bitter ass this whole book. And I'm just like, can you stop being so damn mad? Like, we get it. You're the general. You want to be in charge of stuff. But just let's relax. Like, relax. I just find it so funny that Aedion does not like surprises, but he literally is in love with a shapeshifter. I'm like, first of all, every day with her is going to be a surprise. Like, you're not going to know what her shape is going to be, what she's going to change into. And you don't like surprises. But okay. Okay, bro. I also was like 100% here for Lysandra. She was so funny in this damn book. When Fenris was saying, oh, like, no matter what you shift into, you're still going to have that mark. And she just was like, I guess. And she made herself into like a mini version of him. I was cracking up. Like, I loved her. I love her and Aedion together. Once they got to the Stone Marshes to try and find the lock that wasn't there, Lorcan and Elide ended up meeting up with them too after their whole journey or whatever. So they all literally ended up being together in the end, and that just made me so happy. So the mirror ended up not being a lock. The mirror ended up just being something for them to walk through the memories and find out the truth about Queen Elena, who pretty much used the lock in the wrong way. And so Selena. And Aelin actually has to drain all of her powers to make a new lock. That's what they found out when they walked through the mirror, and that was just like crazy. I was just like, why does everything have to be so complicated? Like, I'm so here for the plot twist, but I was just like, damn. I was just like hoping they found the lock and just moved on, but no. It had to be, just had to be something else. It had to be them just walking through memories, and then Elena ended up revealing all of her woes and sorrows, and I just wanted to punch her in the neck. I'm like, first of all, girl, you're supposed to be smart. Like, how you just shameful. And then they revealed that Nehemia knew the whole time. Like, she had solved all the riddles, she solved all the puzzles, and she figured out a long time ago what the lock was and what the word keys were. She knew all of it, but she thought she was supposed to be the one to drain her power and make the lock. And then that's when Elena told her, no, it's supposed to be either Aelin or it's supposed to be Dorian. And that's why in the final book that had Nehemia in it, she was saying to Dorian, like, oh, well, maybe it's time that you step into your power, because it's like, listen, it's either going to be Dorian or it's going to be Aelin. So Nehemia literally sacrificed herself for her people. I'm just like, one time for sis. Like, she literally was one of the strongest characters, willing to make the most sacrifice, willing to do the most for her people, literally ending her own life and setting up her own murder just for her people to have the opportunity to be free. And her people ended up being brutally like killed, a majority of them, because I'm sure her land is still there, but I was just like, she literally sacrificed so much. That's why it's just so, it hurts so bad. I just wish she didn't die, but I'm just like, I get the sacrifices she made, but it just still makes it so sad. I was super happy that Ansel is back, and she showed up with the the armada of Messeldines, whatever, those people, because they were trying to side with Erwin, and she literally sacked all of their ships, brought them to Aelin, and I was just happy to have her back, because I love all these sassy queens, like all these girls that are so like powerful. I love that she's back, because I really liked her in the Assassin's Blade, despite, well, the assassin in the desert, despite the fact that she betrayed Aelin. Like, even though she betrayed her, I still loved her as a character, and I was happy that she was back. And then you have the final showdown. Like, this was the craziest, like, last few pages. Like, once I got through all this stuff with, like, Queen Elena, I was like, okay, I'm over her. Like, when I got to the end, that whole fight where Maeve shows up, I was just like, first of all, why? Like, when she showed up and they had to fight their way out, and Lysandra was under the water knocking out all boats from underwater, and Rowan went over to all his cousin ships and asked for a favor for them to turn on Maeve, and then they all just started setting up, everybody started using their powers, everybody was fighting. Like, that whole scene was just like crazy, and I was just like rooting so hard for them, and I really wanted everybody to just like come through. And then for Maeve to literally just like disappear and show up on the beach where Elide was hiding and trying to capture her, and then for Aelin and Manon to show up from after traveling through the mirrors, showing up there with Maeve there, I was just like, why? She had no powers. Nobody suspected it, and when they did, it was too late. Everybody ended up showing up late. Lurkin showed up late. Rowan showed up late, and then that's when she revealed pretty much that Lurkin is the one that summoned her. Like, he's the one that called her there. Like, he's the one that called her there because he wanted Maeve to protect Elide. Like, first of all, Maeve is a spiteful, conniving, evil person. Why do you think that she would take Elide and help her? Like, she doesn't even want to help you, and you have a blood oath to her. Why the hell would you summon her? He pissed me off so bad at the end of this book. I was just like, why did you summon her? Like, I wanted to fight Lurkin at the end. I was just like, why? And then the fact that he summoned her way back when and didn't even mention it, I'm like, are you that bitter at Aelin? Are you that bitter that she has 2 keys and that she's on her way to find the 3rd and you wanted to be the one to do it? Like, are you that mad? I would just like, fight me. Like, we have to fight. Like, no, we have to fight now because, sir, the fact that he summoned her, and not only summoned her, but he didn't mention it to anyone. After he did not tell anyone that he summoned her at all. He didn't leave any hints. He had a few times where he felt regret or whatever. But he did not mention it. He didn't say anything. When her armada showed up and was ready to fight, he did not say anything. She literally revealed that he's the one that called her over there to help Elide. Like, you think she want to help Elide? No, she want to kill her. She want to kill you. She want to kill everybody. I'm just like, why would you want her as an alliance? I was so mad at Lurkin. I just wanted to shake him. Just like, and the fact that he was like in love with her. I'm like, how can you be in love with somebody so damn mean? Like, Lurkin just, I was rooting for him. I was rooting for him so hard the whole book. And then I already knew about the betrayal because I already read it before. But I was just rooting so hard for him. I was just like, bro, like, you really just messed up. Like, you messed up bad. So just that whole scene, and then the scene with like Aelin where she ended up getting captured, and when she got whipped, I was just like, okay. Like, when Maeve called over, his name is like Karen or something, Karn, I don't know, whatever his name is, a little spiteful, evil, sadistic person. She called him over and he was whipping Elide, and she's like, oh, you have to count or whatever. I felt bad. I was just like, that whole scene, I literally cried. Like, when nobody could do anything, everybody had to sit and watch. Maeve ended up ending the blood oath with Lurkin and with Gabriel because it was the biggest way that she could hurt them. I'm like, she didn't even blink. Like, she didn't even care. She literally just like ended the blood oath and was just like, peace. Like, gotta go. I don't care. Like, I really don't care that I just ended the blood tie. Because for Gabriel, it's more about loyalty and sacrifice and everything. And then with Lurkin, he's just like in love with her. He did not want that blood oath to end. Even though he has like straddling the fence now because he's in love with Elide, that was the worst way that she could hurt him. And she literally did it without even batting an eye. Captured Aelin, threw her ass inside the iron box, like all this. And then when Rowan shows up and he can't find her, and then he tells him that Aelin and him got married, and it was just, that whole scene, I was just like, okay. Like, I was low-key happy because Aelin actually ended up giving the keys to Manon, so Maeve has Aelin, but she doesn't have the keys, so that's actually really good. But I still was just, like, sad. Like, I'm so used to the ending all wrapping up and being, like, joyful and happy, and this ending, I was just mad. Like, I just wanted to throw the book. I was like, first of all, Lurkin, you suck. Second of all, just Aelin, like, the whole scene with Aelin, it really just, like, hurt me. It hurt so bad. It hurt so bad. And Elide is mad. Like, I don't even know how Lurkin is going to get back into her good grace, but she is not having it. Like, she did all this to get to Aelin. He knew the whole time that was her main motive for the entire journey. And for him to summon Maeve, and then Maeve ended up taking to Aelin, Elide is, like, done with Lurkin. Like, I don't even know what he's going to do to get her back, but I felt bad for him. I felt bad for Gabriel. I felt bad for everybody. The ending was just like so sad, and I was so mad at Lurkin. I was just like, dude, why? And then the entire ending where like Lysandra ends up revealing that Aelin knew the whole time that she would end up having to die because she had to use all of her powers to forge the lock. And that Aelin asked her to pretend to be her for the alliances that were coming. And when the the silent assassin showed up, and Ansel and her cousin Gala, is it Galen? Something like that. When he showed up from Wendland, when all of them showed up, she had to pretend to be Aelin. After all of that, like right after all that happened, she had to pretend to be Aelin. Those are all of my thoughts on this book. Like my whole soul is just shattered, and I'm just like looking at Kingdom of Ash because I need to actually start that. I'm probably gonna start it tonight, but those are all my thoughts on everything. So hopefully this video doesn't end up being too long, but it's probably gonna end up being like 40 minutes or something, but we'll see what we can do. But yeah, so let me know if you guys read Empire of Storms. I swear this one had like the most plot twist and the craziest ending ever. So let me know if you guys read Empire of Storms, if you liked it, how you feel about it. Were you like heartbroken at the end? Did you reread the series? Have you read Kingdom of Ash? Just leave me a comment. Those are all my thoughts on that book, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Always remember, read a book, keep your life interesting, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.